One. Hi, here once again, Renegade Sifu, and welcome to the Way of Conscious Mindfulness, a weekly podcast and YouTube show discussing spirituality and science, balancing being with mind, body, and spirit, with a Daoist twist, a little bit of a Daoist flavour. Dao means the way, the path, the balance. Now, as you may have guessed, if you've watched this a couple of times, we're not the normal talk show. Each week we have a different subject or guest, and our aim is to have an open discussion and to help others find new skills and new techniques for their own personal balance, their own personal Tao. So, to help me on this epic journey, I always have a few co-hosts, a few fellow adventurers, and this week is no exception. I have, as always, the trusted, the mysterious, the very good at questions, the questioner, aka Chris Clutton. Good evening, Chris.
Good evening, everyone.
Cool, blimey, you sound a bit sparky today. What's going on? He's not going to answer that. So, the next one is the beautiful, the wonderful, the delightful, the very lovely Michelle Infinity. Good evening, Michelle. How are you doing?
Good evening, Boggie. I'm good. And again, it's a beautiful day here. Oh, you know what? I'm in a park.
Oh, wow.
So they can see the board, right?
Very nice.
Thank you. That's what I have to share.
Cool. And you said it very well. So tonight we have the way of Ryan Frechette, the founder of the Spiritual Hand. Now, it was my name for him, my terminology. Ryan is a seeker, an adventurer, an ayahuasca experiencer. So we'll be looking forward to exploring this. So my question of all questions, the one I always kick off with. Good evening, Ryan. And Ryan, what is your Tao? What is your...
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me. My Tao is to help others help themselves.
That's a pretty good one.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for having me.
It was good. So, yeah. So how did your journey start? How did it all begin for you? Let's go.
Wow. Okay, that's a great question. Basically, my journey started with pain, like probably a lot of ours. Found myself in a place that I didn't feel comfortable in my own mind, in my own skin, and I wasn't quite sure why, but I knew it wasn't the way it should be. And I knew that you could find happiness within, so I started a long journey of trying to understand how you find this happiness from within. And eventually led me to spirituality, which led me to the person told me it was one of the most spiritual things one could do, and that was to experience an ayahuasca ceremony, the sacred sacrament. And so I went forward and started exploring and researching, and not much longer later found myself in Peru and never wanted to go home, found how magical this ayahuasca was, and felt the need to help people find it that was looking for a solution in their life. And it was such a powerful thing that I made it my life goal to share this medicine with the world and people who are seeking a better life for themselves.
So did you begin working in a retreat center or opening a retreat center?
Yes, I went to a retreat myself just to go for the full experience. I was trying to heal myself at the time. I suffered depression and suicidal thoughts. I had a very long 8-year string of hard things in my life. And so I went to heal myself, and I went to an ayahuasca center in Peru, and fell in love with it all. And so I started going to a couple other places. I said, well, this place was great, but now I want to see what it's like to try ayahuasca over here and with this group and this shaman. I really wanted to start experiencing the deep work with this medicine. And through this time, I ended up meeting a lot of people. And along the way, I liked the way certain ayahuasca centers did certain things, but then there was other aspects that they kind of lacked in. And along meeting all these people and experiencing all these different places, I decided like we could take these beautiful people that know and live this life and put them all together, bring them to a village that needs help and start helping other people. And we took all the positives and added those in, and then found the negative things and removed them, and created a program that ultimately has a little bit of all the good from all different programs, and removed some of the things that maybe weren't, that could have used a little work, and developed this newer program that I have witnessed many people just beautifully transform. So that's where my ideas came from. That's how, you know, through experiencing it at different places and just really going deep within myself and working with many shaman facilitators, and just started seeing what would be a beautiful program. And also along in some of my visions, I had beautiful, vivid visions of how this thing would come together. And in fact, very specific people that ended up working with us before I even knew them was having visions of these people that I didn't really know. And turns out they're now my cooks and managers, and just beautiful, beautiful thing that just came together in a sense. And that's when you're living through presence in your heart. I think that's how life works, you know, and I really learned that through ayahuasca.
Beautiful. I have so many questions, and I'm sure the others do too, but I was wondering how long it took you for that process to solidify itself from when you were first doing research as a participant in ceremony to that accumulation of the actual you creating a facility of yourself.
It's
like how long was that process for you?
It was so quick. It was just magic was ensuing. Literally, as my path was being laid out in front of me, and I was unsure. Like, is this really happening? You know. And so to answer your question, like, right down to the facts, it was on my 30th birthday. I tried. It was like my second ayahuasca ceremony, and I believe about 4 months later, I was in Peru going around looking at land and looking for villages that needed help and had many children. That's what we were looking for, villages that had land that they could offer and that had a lot of children and not an economy. So we were trying to partner up with somebody to build an economy for these people deep in the village, you know. And so 4 months later, I was out there poking around in the jungle, you know, getting eaten alive by all these bugs and sleeping underneath trees. And about, I'd say, 4 months after that, we started having our first people just building. And you can check a lot of that out on YouTube. I have a few different videos of us slowly building the center and some of the things that we went through as experiencing it. So there's a lot of great information there as well. Very quickly.
Was it challenging?
Quickly. Very challenging. You know, I've done construction, so we had to build huts and all these different things. And I've done construction earlier, you know, I read out of high school, so I know the American way. I can do almost all types of construction. And what I knew was literally you could have thrown it out the window and they all just laughed at me. I didn't know anything. Everything is completely different in the jungle, every single thing. So I was like, you know, I was equivalent to somebody who never did any kind of construction in their life. That's how almost useless I was into the way they build out there is 100% different. I mean, you use a tube with water in it to find the level. You don't have a level out there. You have a long tube and you put water in it. And wherever the water line is, that's how you know if something's level. It's just completely different, but beautiful, simple. It's the way I truly think. I always grew up wanting to have a treehouse village, you know, where we all had these beautiful skills. Everyone had their own skill, and we come together as a community and share that and live in this beautiful place. And I've built it. I'm 32 years old, and I have a little treehouse village community that everybody benefits from. It's amazing and just beautiful. It's beautiful.
I'll let somebody else ask questions and take
Awesome.
over.
Chris, you got a question? Otherwise, I've got one. Well, yeah, a treehouse. Freaking hell, yeah. Have you heard of a treehouse? That is, well, see, when you say treehouse, to be honest, I want like a Forest Moon of Endor. I want a set of tree houses and have your own studio, you know, down in the tree, you know, boggy. It's a boggy thing, you know.
I love it. I love it. No, I'm into it. I like it, man. I'll start setting you one up there. I'm gonna put your 3rd floor up there, and we'll get you a little office that overlooks the Amazon. That'll be a serious broadcast.
Well, wow, yeah. But I'm also Dragon Dog Shaman, so it'll be quite apt to be in the treehouse doing the old healing work, teaching qigong and all of that sort of stuff, as well as doing the show live from the treehouse.
That'd be great. We'll get the shaman up there with you. It'll be amazing.
Yeah, I love shaman. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Michelle or Chris?
Yeah, I just wanted to know if you could just explain what ayahuasca is. I know it's a simple question, but...
It's a great question. Yeah, ayahuasca is basically, it's 2 plants, right? Ayahuasca itself is a vine, and ayahuasca has 2 things. It has the vine itself, the ayahuasca vine, and it has a leaf, Crotona leaf. That's the original recipe. So it's 2 different plants. One's a leaf and one's a vine. And you break these things down and boil them in water over a long period of time, and it slowly just comes down to basically a dark sludge. And the main component of ayahuasca is DMT. And so it's all natural. It's an all natural thing, just boiled in water. And it is a beautiful sacrament. It opens up your mind, and it's able to go into parts of your brain, like where your memories are stored, deep old memories. And ultimately what it does is reconnects wavelengths and paths to kind of retrain your brain, kind of reliving your past experience. And ayahuasca is very interesting in the fact that it's almost as it's like a therapist that can go into your mind and your memories, travel through your whole life, things that you don't even remember, and then present it back to you in a way to make you understand why it might have affected you, how you may have misinterpreted it, and it lets you understand it, see it in a better, clear light, a non-egoic light, and which ultimately lets you release it after because you are at peace with it. So it's very huge transformation-wise when it comes to the mind and mental depression, anxiety.
I really like the way that you described that. Yeah.
Yes, it's truly, no, it's okay. It's truly incredible. It's very hard to describe too.
Is it unique for each person?
It's unique for each person, yes. And every time you do it, it is different. Every time it's different. Like you don't have, there's similar things that happen. Like people have similar visions, like there's eyes or bugs or snakes and things like that. Everyone has these similar visions. So there is a connection there, but it's always based on the person and what they need. You might think you know what you need, but Mother Ayahuasca is going to know what you need, and she'll let you know one way or another. She'll make it clear to you, and absolutely beautiful.
And do you ingest it or smoke it or
okay, so that's good.
Cake? I don't know.
No, that's a great question because it kind of leads into that too. So DMT is something to have the effects of DMT. Typically, you need to smoke or inject something like that. But that's way out of line. And the thing about ayahuasca is you are able to ingest it because the ayahuasca vine itself, what that does is kind of blocks the receptors or that would process it. Like if you just ingested DMT, you would just process it. You wouldn't have any effects. It wouldn't go into your mind and your things like that. The ayahuasca vine blocks that from happening, so it lets you ingest it and then prolongs that period, because like any kind of DMT usage is like a 5 to a 10-minute experience. Ayahuasca can be 3 to an 8-hour experience. And that's why you're able to do work. You're able to analyze and see the things that are happening in your life over a set period of time. So the vine itself lets you ingest it. That's the only way it's possible to ingest it. And they boil it down to a little tea. So it's like 1 ounce. Typical shot, a standard starting dose for someone's first journey. Everyone comes into a maloka. The shaman is typically in the middle. And we all sit around and you take your turn coming up and you get your 1 shot. You take your shot, you go back to your mat, everyone goes up, and that's typically how a ceremony begins.
The root, the ayahuasca root, what it does, it triggers the body. The whole reason why you vomit, it triggers the body's vomit reflex. But when that happens, the DMT itself, you would naturally have DMT but DMT, dimethyltryptamine, you naturally have in your pineal gland. Your dream is your brain excreting the tiny little bits of DMT you have and making your dreams. So your dreams, if you're very good at visualization, if you're very good at you remember your dreams and you visualize, you're actually tripping on DMT. Your brain is a drug den. That's the real funny thing about making DMT illegal, is that your brain actually produces it all the time. But what this does, it actually helps trigger it. It helps activate it more, gives you that extra boost, and actually triggers the DMT in your mind to actually work more. So that's the great thing about it, is that the inhibitors, your body slows down the ability to absorb stuff. So the thing of making it sick means that the body suddenly has to absorb stuff very quickly because it's losing, because when you flush certain stuff out, what happens, the body will absorb certain liquids, certain chemicals very, very quickly to ensure that it's still getting some nutrients. So it puts your body in this fight or flight. So it's making you sick, but it's also increasing the adrenaline and allowing the DMT to actually pump in very, very quickly.
Yeah, and that purge also is a great thing for your body too, because you're expelling all that negative energy, all these things. That's a big part of ayahuasca. That purge is to expel all that stuff that you've been holding for the years. It's a beautiful experience, really.
Because what happens, like when you are sick, this is when people are naturally ill or have been ill and they're throwing up. Some people actually get hallucinations, or they suddenly get this slight weird euphoric feeling from being ill, and it's the body trying to, rather than send you into shock because it's expelling stuff, it tries to actually give you a little bit of sweetness for all the sour that you're going through. So it's a natural thing of the body.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what do I know?
Can we talk? Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Michelle. I've already asked loads of questions.
Are you sure? All right. Well, and am I on a delay? Do I need to fix my internet, or are we good?
I can hear you good.
You can hear me good? Okay. Well, I want to ask you a question about the Divine Mother aspect of ayahuasca, and to talk about her as a feminine spirit. And I was just speaking about ayahuasca the other day to my roommates, who were asking me, because they had heard about it in the last couple of months, and I've experienced work with the plant medicine, and it was and I was able to speak about how plants have wisdom. So I was wondering if you could talk about the Divine Mother aspect of the plant, and how the plants are our teachers, because I'm sure. And I also want to share with you, later in the broadcast, I'm actually going to Bolivia in a few weeks for the first time. Yeah, and Lake Titicaca. So let's get into that in a bit. But please talk about, as for those who are being introduced to this medicine, since Chris was asking those very questions, it's okay, well, let's talk about that divine feminine aspect in the plants as teachers. I think that's very relevant.
Certainly. And I love it. I love, so if you hear people, Madre Ayahuasca, Mother Ayahuasca, they say, and I don't know if you ever heard of San Pedro either. Have you heard of San Pedro?
Yes, the grandfather. Yes.
Great. Okay. So yeah, so it's the complement thing, you know, it's beautiful. It's a duality. And so ayahuasca is the feminine side of the energy realm in this kind of visual sense, right? And it's very clear. It's very clear because it's truthfully, even just in a ceremony, you can feel the feminine energy. You can feel love and that side of where it's a woman's nurture. It's a natural feeling of like your grandmother, that very loving, caring, nurturing feeling, and that is very, very identified, very much so with ayahuasca. And I think it's funny, marijuana is also a feminine energy plant medicine, right? And that's why they kind of collide. If you were ever to practice ayahuasca, they say, you know, you don't want to be smoking marijuana previous to that, because you're building in this natural clash of these feminine energies, and they can be almost jealous of each other in a sense. So it takes away from the experience. But you know, it's very personal for me too, and I'm trying to honestly find a way without making it personal for the general public. But I grew up without a father, and so I have a lot of feminine energy. My single mom raised me. She was young, and I really I'm attracted to that feminine energy, and that's love. I think I think it's love, and that ayahuasca is love, and I think that directly relates to like a mother's nurturing, and which is very feminine, as feminine as you could get, right? But it's strong, and but it's not something that's overwhelming either, in a sense. Like if you're a male that never had the feminine love, or even the complete opposite, it's beautiful. It's hard to generally speak about it, without but it's beautiful. It's very beautiful. What are your thoughts as far as
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I want to know what your question was.
I was just gonna say, what is your thoughts on the feminine energy part of it for you? What does it mean to you personally?
Well, when I was listening to you just now, I was relating it into the Mother Earth aspect, because to weave it into how the plants are our teachers, and
Yes.
So the divine feminine is this Madre Ayahuasca is really, for me, my experience has been, it's the energy of the Divine Mother that is, if you want to go into a yogic description of it, like material, manifest, everything that is physical in this reality has given birth from the feminine energy, because it is manifest. And
Yes.
masculine energy is the unmanifest, the consciousness, the thought, the impulse, the direction, the drive, the energy, the force that creates that, and the lovemaking between those two polar opposites is what births creation. So, yes, thank you. So what I've learned is that communication with the earth and communication with the spirit of the plants and the trees, all of that is connected. It's a divine force. And the ayahuasca, she's like the queen, I would say, intelligence, the master. That's what I was telling my roommates over the weekend, was that she is the wise woman. What is it?
Yes.
What do they call it now? Now it's leaving me. But she's like a queen of the jungle, I guess. I don't know. It's so funny. She doesn't want me to. say it or something like that because the energy's leaving me.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
No,
and yeah.
I forgot to tie that
Go ahead.
into. I forgot to tie it into what you're saying as like plant medicines are our teachers. I got caught up in the feminine energy, and that's a beautiful thought. I think I truly believe all the answers to whatever our problems are, if you even want to call it that, are in these plant medicines, are in these. They teach us there's magic within these that come from the same place we do. We're all earth, we're all life, and we are birthed into this universe. And I think Mother Ayahuasca is, like you said, the queen bee of the feminine energies, probably the most knowledgeable, and is always presented through presence and love. You know, even when it's hard, even when she almost seems as though she may be punishing you, that's not at all what's happening. It's directly through feminine love and nurture, you know? And so there's lessons for days to be learned through these special plant medicines.
I was thinking when you were talking about, when I asked if it was challenging for you to build your center, I noticed this about my own life and myself. It's not an easy road. It's on one hand completely magical, right? On one hand, things line up, synchronicities, and we have openness to this interdimensional, unseen reality that that unplugs us from the matrix and plugs us into the astral, and have guides and visions and angels, and like we're able to see beyond this world. And it's so humbling because we are stripped from like into the bare bones of ourselves in order to like rebuild it. There's like not an easy somehow path, and we have to continue to grow. And I find that very interesting, that paradox, you know. It's like you have this beautiful do you want to speak on that? I'm sure that triggered something for you.
Yeah.
Unless you've had an easier time.
Well,
then by all means.
It's hard. Life, I don't know. Life is very, I try not to even see things as hard anymore.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, everything is a lesson. That's what I try to do. And like you said, I wanted to be able to, because you do get stripped at some point. It's big for you no matter what, right? And at some point you do have to break yourself down to the bare bones to basically rebuild. And I think that's where the difficultness came in for me, was that I had to create a space that was safe, and that where when you do that, when you strip yourself down, you are amongst people in a space that you feel safe, and that you can truly get down deep into who you really are. Sometimes you don't even know it until you get that deep. And so that was kind of my thing, is like, I was so worried on creating this beautiful, safe space that people know that they can let all of that go, be as vulnerable as possible amongst strangers, and make sure that that is a quality experience for them, and not only just a quality, but helps them further in their life. And that builds a lot of pressure, and I started realizing I'm putting too much mind into this. And so I just go back to my heart, I go back to that presence, that space, and I build through my heart. And I truly believe we've created that at this point. And it happened through love and openness and hearing everybody, and not taking anything personally, and just getting people's advice, and really hearing people deep down inside and making those adjustments for people's lives. And I think we've adjusted it just enough here and there that it's created just this loving, safe place where anything goes. We don't even have mirrors. We refuse to have mirrors there because we don't need them there. Doesn't matter how you look. We all love each other. It doesn't matter. You don't even need to know how you look. You can let all that go the second you stop on the land, because it's time to be real with yourself, and looking in the mirror has nothing to do with that. You know, so
yeah,
it's beautiful.
Oneself.
Right, right.
Being, you know, in essence, you know, I say this a couple of times. You're a Daoist. You know, is that you may not have known what that word was, but you know, the Tao, the way, is finding your path. And you know, when we
I love Buddha.
You know, yeah, and you know, the whole thing of the Tai Chi symbol.
Yeah.
The yin and the yang. You know, there is no good or bad.
Right, duality.
Is, you know,
you need them both. You know, you got to have one to feel the other. It's
well, in modern society, we love this duality. We you know, whether we realise it or not, you know, good or bad, left or right. There's this and that.
Right.
And we have these two opposing each other and fighting each other. But in nature, you know, in the universe, the Tai Chi symbol is all the key. Is that it's not about fighting each other. One night goes into day, day goes into night. It's all about the flow.
Unity. Yeah.
The unity. So the you know, ayahuasca is a great tool for that. It is, you know, there is a bit of a down. You know, you get ill, or you may see bugs. You may see some scary stuff. But that's like your mum giving you that smack, saying, you know, you're not paying attention, or banging the table, you know, boom, and then darling, please listen. You know, that's what it's all
I
about.
was more speaking about was the smack. The smack. I've gotten smacked many times by the Divine Mother. And that's it. But you were talking about something so beautiful, which is like looking at life as your teacher and your experience, and that humility that is also taught by being smacked. But you know. So anyway, not to interrupt, but it's beautiful.
No, that's good. Good point.
But no, Michelle, that's spot on. It is like Shun did my teacher Shun originally. You know, as my I mean, I don't do this to Chris. Chris is one of my students, and his Sifu is one of my students, Baz. And I don't teach like my teacher taught, but my teacher, Shun was their surname, but he was known as Shun. If you asked too many questions, you got whacked. If you didn't train enough, you got whacked. If you asked the wrong sort of question, you got whacked. You basically got whacked a lot. But the point was. The point was to get you to eventually, you know, first it was the back of the hand, then it was a fist, then it was a steel bar. But the point was that when you did enough training, the whack it didn't hurt. If you learn how to go with the flow, when you get hit, it doesn't hurt. So, you know, like, you know, the being ill is like that shock technique, you know, it's like the slap, but when you realise what it means, what it's signifying, it's, as you say, it's purging out. You know, is that it's there, and it's nice to be be aware that this happens, but it's getting rid of char. You know, so char is negative energy, negative emotions, parping, burping, pooing, puking. That's all char, but from char comes chi. You know, it is like you have to exhale to inhale. And that's the beauty of it, is that, you know, what goes out, you get something in return. When you clear out the space, you get the beauty.
Yeah, I always call it, you have to fight through the darkness to get to the light. That's kind of the way I...
But it's awesome, man. It's
beautiful. That's life in itself. That's the journey, you know. That's the journey of life right there in its own essence, you know. And if you can find the way to enjoy the journey, not the destination, then you're living life correctly.
Yeah.
The present moment. Cool. It's the present moment. I think that's what it all comes down to, honestly, is live through presence. You don't have to live through your mind. I think our minds, our society has kind of created us to become compulsive thinkers, and we spend a lot of our time in our mind and not present, not being our souls, ourselves, and following our hearts, because we talk ourselves out of everything. We're constantly conning ourselves. You know, I like to give this example in life. Like, say if you wanted a specific career, like I'm just gonna pick a DJ, right? If I wanted to be a DJ because I love music and I love making people happy, And I would love to be up on the stage and getting everybody excited and dancing. And so that's like, wow, yeah, right. So, you know, I'm thinking, oh, that would be great. But then your mind, then your mind kicks in though, and is always like, well, maybe I don't have the money to buy the turntables. I can't, who's going to teach me? Or, you know, there's too many guys that are already good, you know, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden you talk yourself out of it. And I think that's the difference between living through your heart and your mind. If you think about in your life the times that you've just said, you know what, I'm going to go with my gut on this one. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm just going to follow my gut. It always works out. It always works out every time. If you look back, any example in your own life that you just went for it, it worked out. It always does. And I think if you can live through your heart, through presence, your life becomes this open, fun, beautiful game that you end up having your own control over. You can create your own universe around you. We invoke lives just being ourselves. So why not invoke the best life for yourself? And you live through your heart. That's how you get there. Naturally, easy, without thought, without even trying to fight this or that. Just following your heart. You get there.
And I think with you, oh, go on, Chris.
So does ayahuasca, do you do some sort of training or life coaching with ayahuasca? Or is it just somehow ayahuasca has unlocked this sort of thought chain or way of thinking or feeling, shall we say?
So basically the way my program is, in a sense, is like ayahuasca can do a lot for you, but the way I like to look at it, and the way I like ayahuasca is a tool that can show you things in a light that sometimes you're not able to see on your own, especially if you're living egoically or even through more thought than presence, right? And ayahuasca is kind of like a breakthrough tool that can give you a different perspective when you can't see anything any other way. And if you can mix that in with some quality training, some work, you know, in many different ways, I find working on the mind and the ego and these things are the most direct way, and make it very simple and easy for people to understand. A lot of people nowadays are things need to be tangible. You have to be able to see it, understand it on your own, and be a part of it to really believe in it. You know, that's kind of how things are nowadays. So if you got to have some kind of reasonable explanation behind something for somebody who is unfortunately narrow-minded or living through the ego, to break through that barrier that they're struggling with, to get them to open their mind up. And so what I like to do is mix the ayahuasca with these mind and ego techniques, and it creates this beautiful string that goes together, and they complement each other, and ultimately ends up, everybody has their own different problem. You know, it could be anything, but once they start dealing with those problems, they see the bigger picture. And if you're there to help them see the bigger picture, then it opens up their life for this brand new way of living, which it turns out to be, because you get the bug. Because all of a sudden you're like, wow, I feel better about this, and I've never felt better about this specific topic in my life. And it works, so you keep going, and you follow it down the rabbit hole, and it keeps producing.
So is that what was different that you found about your retreat center, that you incorporated like mindfulness tools or whatever? Is that what you're talking about right now? Is that what you
that is part
created
of it.
That's unique to you?
Yes,
okay,
yes,
great.
Definitely.
Because I was going to ask you that before.
Yeah. Also, we for example, there's some ayahuasca places that give you the ayahuasca and send you back to your room. That's kind of weird. There's some places that don't counsel you, you know, like you're trying to make big changes in your life. You know, some places don't even know your name. They just get these big groups of 30 people, 25 people, and they hand out the medicine. They're trying to look through their notebooks with their flashlights to see who's who. You know, it's just so impersonal. And if someone's taking a giant step, then, you know, you want to be there for these people. Like, this is a big move in their life that's going to change everything. You want to be there for that person, aftercare, pre-care, during. I mean, this is transformational. This is going to change your life. We take this stuff seriously, and you know, there's everyone has their little different things. Some you get there almost like a prison. Truthfully, they ship you in on the boat. You get there, you have your 4 little huts, and you don't leave. You stay in that one little compound for 10 days or however long, right. And then you get back in the boat, and they ship you off, and you never hear from those people again. We go out to the jungle. We explore. We go to villagers' houses. We go to the children's school. We go look for pink dolphins. We track sloths. We watch the sunset. We hike to a 10,000-year-old
It is like
tree.
a summer camp.
It really is.
Like you were saying, you built the tree house. Yeah, but spiritual.
Yeah, it's all spiritual. It's beautiful. It's just, the lessons are nonstop. There's so many different things that happens through these little programs that we created. You don't even realize what's happening until you step out of this.
That's exactly what a retreat should be, though, eh? Really?
Yes, it's built in. It just happens, and you get this relief. And that's where my program is a little different. We have these events that just seem like you're doing something great, but in the end, you are learning, absorbing, and reflecting on your life and what you're witnessing, how happy these people are in such a simple way. You know, get back down to basics. And we're getting way ahead of ourselves in this world. You know, we just need to really come back and come within ourselves. And
so you've done a really cool thing there. It's like the whole point is, one of the things I always say, you know, everything is your Sifu. The universe is talking to you all the time, but you've created, you know, rather than shutting everybody off like some of them do, and you're all closed off, and like you say, it's almost like a prison thing where, you know, and you get sent to your room and all this.
It's like a form of torture, though, eh? Yeah. It sounds like it's something that's enlightening, or that is a real retreat, because if there's no connection with it, that could actually have its own trauma. You could get trauma from being in that enclosed position.
We take people from other centers that have had a bad experience through not being paid attention to. They have PTSD. We're clearing them of PTSD that they've received from a different center, you know?
Yeah, but that's kind of just like what's happening with Big Pharma. It's like doctors just going, there you go,
Right.
go off into
like
your own
magic
little place.
bullet.
Exactly.
You need guidance.
And it has its place. It has its place as far as, you know, like drugs do. We slate Big Pharma, but drugs do have their place. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I think,
right.
And if it's the right medicine, like ayahuasca is the right medicine, hash is the right medicine, codeine's the right medicine, paracetamol's the right medicine, depending upon the ailment and depending upon how it's treated. But there has to be follow up. You can't. You might as well just be writing a prescription. There's some ayahuasca.
Exactly.
See you later, you know what I mean? That'll sort your PTSD out. You know what I mean? Go and sit in a room now while the room becomes the universe.
Right.
Yeah. But because the universe is talking to you all the time. So you're actually, with your little trips, you're actually giving the universe opportunity to talk to them, because they're taken out of their normal field, their normal world. Even though in their normal world, the universe talks, you know, a bird will fly by, or a butterfly, or even they'll go past somebody that reminds them of somebody else. And the universe is desperately trying to talk to them. But you put them in a situation, you're giving them opportunities for the universe to talk to them.
And you're giving them love as well. You're giving them love, and you're making sure that they're all right as well. Because there's nothing worse than having a bad trip as well. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter what the thing is, what the medicine is, what kind it is. You still have to. There still has to be some kind of regulation. And is this the right dose? Has that person? Do you know what I mean? Is that person cool? We have to give them love as well as give them medicine. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's a whole treatment. It's a whole treatment. Yeah, it's not just here you go. You know, we walk you hand by hand.
That's what holistic is. We say holistic, and what is just organic vegetables. Do you know what I mean? It's got to be holistic. Means the whole thing. It means the whole treatment. It's you're giving love from whatever treatment it is, whatever kind of therapy it is that you're giving.
Every angle.
I like that you're doing that. I like that you're doing that, because you're coming from a heart space.
Oh, yes.
That is a true heart space. That's a true retreat. because you're giving of yourself. Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you, my friend.
That's why you're getting that, brother, because I like the idea. It is, like I say, you know, you didn't know it, but you know, you're Daoist. You know, it's everything holistic. And the point you're coming, like you say, there is no good or bad from the experience. It's all experience.
Exactly.
But you're being a mother. You know, even though you're male, but you're being a mother. You're
nurturing. You've got to. Yeah.
Well,
and I think those labels are coming to an end as well. I think worrying about mother, father. Do you know what I mean? We all should be mothers to each other. Do you know what I mean?
I agree. You know,
society that it is, because everybody's used to looking to a woman for, you know, that love. Well, to be a divine masculine, you have to be the divine mother as well as the divine father.
100%. I love that.
You have to be the father as well as the mother as well. It's about the balance. That's what the Merkaba is about. It's about the masculine, feminine balancing within you. You know
and people talk about that like it's hard or something. That's a beautiful thing. I love that I have that feminine side to myself. I mean, you need it. You need to, you know, everybody needs love. The problem with it is the link to sexuality. I think because, you know, if you say from an early age, do you know what I mean? Your dad's like, don't be a sissy. Do you know what I mean? Or don't be it's programming. It's society's programming. That's all it is. It's linked to some kind of Cro-Magnon man saying, no son of mine's going to be doing that, you know what I mean? Right. And it's a lot of nonsense, you know. We all should be nurturing. We all should. In fact, I think there's nothing more masculine, actually. Do you know what I mean? Than when a man is actually standing and he's not. A true man can sit there and cry. You know, that's a true man. Exactly. Because that's the truth of just humanity. You know, like, that's got nothing to do with whether you're a man or a woman. That's just whether that's feelings, that's life, that's energy. Why are you trying to hide any of that? And that's being brave as well. We say, well, what's being brave? True. Being brave is hiding your feelings and going lopping off some heads. One of my guides is a samurai. He was a samurai guide. He was a samurai when he was alive. Went from lopping off people's heads, like from the sword of violence to the sword of truth. That's amazing. He became the divine mother, you know. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, you know, and that is brave, because you're going up against a society that's telling you, you know, don't be a sissy. You know, right. And you're not being a sissy, because it's not at all. Stand up for what you believe in. Exactly. It's actually bravery.
I think compassion is the highest teaching that we get from these divine plant teachers that connect us to all things, right? And I think that's called a feminine principle, but when you're talking about warriors and what the truth is and divine masculine, all, like you're saying, people who live in the heart, people who live in integrity, who wield that sword and are in service to love and compassion. Cool.
You got now. The Chinese tradition, everything is the three ones, the three M's: medical, martial, meditational. So herbalism was both for martial, when it was about, you know, strengthening the person or healing the person in battle. Meditational, obviously, medical would be, you know, obviously healing them, not just in battle, but, you know, their normal life. And meditation, you know, they had the meditational side would be things like ayahuasca, things that would open up your spirit, would allow you. So, you know, you look back into ancient traditions and you go back to all the ancient cultures, they had their spiritual medicine. They had their medicines that would allow this. I mean, I come from a cycle where, you know, with my qigong and with the massage I can do, I've had people who have been, you know, used a lot of different medicines, different spiritual medicines, different like marijuana and whatnot, and they've said, you know, I can trigger stuff just through massage or just through qigong. You know, I get them off on a you know, as high as they get when they are, you know, when they are smoking something or taking something. And I said, well, that's because what I do is all it's doing is activating what's already in there, because your body has these trace amounts of all these chemicals within your body, especially once you've had it once, it's already in there and you can access that at any point. But the whole point, you know, for people who haven't learned that skill, you know, these are great. And like I say, I love I love the sound of your retreat. I can't wait. I want to come along. I'll have to work that one out, but I want to come along because
I'd love to have you, man. I'd love to have you.
How many retreats have you done?
How many? What do you mean by that?
Well, what I'm only asking. I beg your pardon?
He sets up his center. He's actually got a center.
Yeah,
fantastic.
I own my own center. I opened it up, and I go personally like 7 times a year. I bring bigger groups out. I go out, but we take people every week. We're open 24/7. Always taking people.
It's so inspirational, though. No, I'm only asking because I've been asked to do a retreat in Ibiza at the end of July and the beginning of August. But I've never done one before. I haven't led a group of people, or I don't, how long have you been doing it for? It's like, it's really valuable for me to know. Did you feel like did you just take the bull by the horns and just go and
did it? Yeah. I just went right for it. Yeah. I went out there and I started a Facebook group. When I started struggling with depression and suicidal thoughts and things like that, I was starting to look for a community that I could share my ideas and spiritual thoughts with. And I was looking through Facebook, and there wasn't really any groups that even had the word spiritual in them. So I decided, like, I'm going to start my own and just like create this group where everybody could talk and everything. So that's how I originally started. A Spiritual Hand is actually a Facebook group. We have, I don't know, maybe 13,000 members at this point.
Wow.
But we started there, and everybody was like interested in the things that I was saying, the quotes, and it started growing and growing, and we started building a community. And somewhere shortly after, I decided that I was just going to go for this whole ayahuasca thing. So I documented it with the video camera, and everybody started following the story. And then, everybody's like, well, that was amazing. What did you learn? I started making videos and, crying on YouTube and just having these big emotional things go on. And then people started getting really interested, and I want to go with you next time. And I said, well, you know what? I'm just going to start sharing this with the world. And
fantastic. Good for you.
Yeah, man. I was originally a professional poker player. And so what I took my money and stopped playing poker, went out to the jungle and just started building it all.
Good for you. Fantastic. It sounds like a book, man. I want to hear your book. You need to write a book.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm going to. It's, I got some stories.
I'm writing one just now. Definitely get it done.
I should. I'm excited about it. My life has been very, very interesting, so I think it would be a pretty good book.
Yeah. Go for it. That's just like that. You hooked me there with that line. Yeah, I was a professional poker player, and I just decided to go and buy part in the jungle and go and help people.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's a log line for a player if I've ever heard one,
Yeah, pretty incredible. Like I said, I just followed my heart. I didn't even know half of what I was doing. I just went for it. And every time I ran into some crazy problem, we quickly came up with a solution naturally somehow. And next thing you know, we had groups in and out, and I'm traveling back and forth.
That's exactly what we need, though. It needs to be explored. It needs to be out there. We need to see people who have positive energy. And I know a lot of people. I've got clients. I know lots of people that have PTSD. And
I just got back.
It's very real.
Yeah, I just got back 9 days ago from my last trip, taking a group out, and I can say today, this is my 9th day without any cigarettes. So
good for you.
The last thing I did was I was like, I asked my shaman to help me. Can you think ayahuasca can help me quit cigarettes? And she said, oh, most definitely. Let's work on this. So the last few days, once the last group came and went, I did a little bit of work, and I haven't smoked any cigarettes.
I have to say though, Ryan, right, with Deadly Nightshade, right, I have to say, right, that's you that's done that, right? And
sure.
And I think that's very important as well, because I think it's good. I think it has its value, and I think all of these things have value. Ultimately, that's you that's stopping smoking.
Yeah,
I think we can give our power away sometimes, and
100%
to get that boost.
The only reason I say it is because I've previously failed like 4 times.
I know exactly what that's
but 100% though, it is certainly me. It is certainly me.
I used to do 60 a day. I was a 60 a day man. I lost my voice 5 years in a row from acute laryngitis. And the doctor, every year the doctor just said to me, give up smoking.
Right. Yeah.
Years ago, and it's been years ago. I've not smoked for years, but you're the reason for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, and it's important just to keep that perspective. Yeah.
Of course. But it certainly helped me and my cravings, and it almost gave me just a better perspective that the truth is I'm really just abusing myself. I don't need it. And ayahuasca made it really clear for me, which made it easier and stronger for me to stick to my power and keep it.
You can see it's moving forward for you. Your energy is really clear.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm just every time I'm just working on each thing. Like, what's the next thing that I challenge myself? Where do I need to get control back in my life? Like, which part what's the least amount of control? In what area do I have the least amount of control in my life right now? I find that and I say, all right, let's attack it. Let's break this down because I just want to be open. I just want to be a great person. I think anything's possible. I'm open to any thought, but I want to be the best individual I could possibly be. So I'm always going to question myself and challenge myself to get where I want to be. I want to be free of any kind of need of control or lack thereof, and just be and be free with being.
Yeah. That's interesting because, sorry, Boggie, go on.
No, I was going to give you and Michelle the opportunity because me and Robbie have run away with the show again. So.
Sorry guys.
No, it's cool. It's interesting listening to you bounce off each other. I was going to ask a question. What was it? Oh, yes, control. Now, you see, to me, control would almost be the opposite of where you want to go because you want to release things rather than be in control, because control is kind of like one of those things where because you're narrowing the focus down rather than expanding out.
I completely agree, and that's why I said, or lack thereof, because control is not what you want. Right. But when I say control in this, there's a couple different instances we could take this control as far as like my mind. I don't want something to have more power than my own soul. So if I ever say to myself, I don't want to smoke cigarettes, then I should never smoke cigarettes. And if I find myself smoking one, then I've lost it. I'm not true to myself. So that's the kind of control I want to get rid of. And like, I don't want to try to gain control because then you're just kind of doing the opposite. And that's why I said, I just want to be able to be. I just want to be able to be.
You don't want to be disempowered or out of control.
Right. So
whatever don't have a choice. Don't feel like you don't have a choice. That's right. I think smoking's a big thing. The deadly nightshade is a nightmare for that. Because you feel like you're out of control. It's like no, I've given up. I've given up. And then suddenly my dad gave up for 7 years and then he started again. And it's like, it's one of those things. I know that I've kicked it now. I think the thought of smoking anymore is just, I won't smoke ever again. But I know the struggle. I understand the struggle.
Yeah. So it's about being able to release everything and be happy with everything in yourself, the way your life is ordered. And by doing that is understanding where you go wrong, regaining the control so you can completely let it go and release it. So is that what you mean, Chris? Like to where, because you don't want to try to control everything, because that's the opposite of just like being, right? Is that what you mean?
Yes, exactly.
Yes, I agree completely.
Really beautiful topic to talk about.
Can anybody hear? I can't hear.
I can't hear. Yeah.
Nope, still nothing.
Nope.
Michelle, can you hear us?
Hello?
There you go.
It's got a bad connection, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It's coming in and out. Yeah. Bummer.
Okay. You used a word earlier, by the way. Is it Molak?
Oh, maybe I said Maloka?
I think that might be it, yes.
Okay, yeah. That's a ceremonial space. It's the special room where ceremonies are held. It's like the church of an ayahuasca retreat, the Maloka.
And
cool.
is that like a consecrated space, or is that just the name of a space that's been sort of designated, as it were?
It's basically, I think it's more or less a traditional or Spanish or Shipibo way of saying a sacred round room. So if you look up like a maloka, it's almost like in like, if you were like a Western thing, would be like a gazebo. But a maloka is specifically used for a sacred space in ayahuasca ceremony setting. Like the altar.
Would you have any
Go ahead.
oh sorry. Would you have any advice to somebody who's going to a retreat for the first time?
Oh yeah, I mean, I could talk for days on it. Is this retreat going to be in Peru? Is this retreat like, what kind of advice? Mental? Right.
Before we carry on, let's just wrap up this part one, and we'll continue this. So the advice, because obviously it could be quite lengthy, so we'll take the advice into part two. So part one, obviously we've talked about the wonderful world of ayahuasca, and we've gone on a mighty journey. I'm already eager to go to Ryan's retreat. So I hope you guys on Podcast World, I hope you enjoyed part one. Go and look for part two. So for now, for those in part one, it's goodbye from Michelle. She's the microphone's off. It's goodbye from Robbie.
Goodbye. Thanks for watching, listening, hearing, coming.
It's goodbye from Chris.
Bye.
And it's goodbye from the mighty Ryan for now.
Thank you so much. I appreciate all of you.
And so, guys in the podcast world, see you next time. Look up for part two. So, goodbye. Love, Chi and Shen from Sifuboggie and the Way of Conscious Mindfulness. Okay. Right, Chris, time that off. It's just, we're still live as before anybody says, yes, we're still live, but just for the podcast, we split it off into 2 hours because so part one and a part two. That way, it's not too much for if people only want to watch or listen to one part. It's cool. You ready, Chris?
Yeah, let's do it.
Right. Okay, we'll start part two in 5. Hi, Sifu Boggie here once again, and welcome to part 2. Now, we have been listening to Ryan Frechette, the founder of the Spiritual Hand, the seeker, the adventurer, the ayahuasca experiencer. Now, we've had a great journey with part 1. So if you've come straight to part 2, what you doing? Go and listen to part 1 first. Come back in a minute, you fool. Otherwise, hello and welcome. Now, the great, the wonderful, the lovely Michelle was asking the question of if somebody go ahead.
Well, if somebody is about to take, if someone is going to take an ayahuasca journey, they're going to go to a maloka, they're going to go down to the jungle, or even if they're just in America, I mean, wherever they are doing their journey with a shaman, I would like to know your advice about communing with the medicine of ayahuasca, what they can do to prepare themselves for the journey. Advice to just people because anybody who's hearing this is going to then hear it more, and then eventually it will be their time, maybe, perhaps, if it's on their journey to take the medicine. Mm-hmm. And then for those of us who even have been practiced, but somebody who has held retreats, I know that you've worked very intricately with the medicine, so just things that can bring us more in touch and in closer communion with the spirit. Yeah.
Great.
Beneficial.
Yes, great question. So first and foremost, the very, very first thing that comes to my mind is the ayahuasca diet, the dieta, and it's pretty simple. And most places that deal with traditional Shipibo type style medicine are going to come along with this specific diet. And this diet consists of no salt, no sugar, no red meats, no pork, no sex, no masturbation, no sexual activity at all. And that's due to energy exchange, and you're trying to preserve energy. You don't want to be mixing energies with other people and or releasing big amounts of energy prior. And the basis behind this is to have a very clean system. You want to be living very clean mentally, physically, you know, the food, what you're processing. So the medicine can connect with you better, but also it's like a respect thing. You know, if you honor her wishes and you take it very seriously, then she will help you tenfold, you know, and the more serious you take this, the more you will get out of it. So, you know, some people, they'll say, oh, do I have to do the diet? I mean, no, you don't have to do anything, but do you really want to heal yourself? You know, do you really want to take it seriously? You know, I always do. And so that would consist of like at least 2 weeks prior to your first ceremony. You want to be very clean, food wise, energy wise. So that's probably the first and initial thing. A second thing is, I'd say, expectations. It's a very difficult thing to not have expectations. You're trying to go in and change your life. This is supposed to be a life-changing experience for you. And not only that, but you're also faced with these, what kind of visions and things that, you know, you hear all these crazy stories. So what am I going to experience? Am I going to go through tunnels? Am I going to get attacked by demons? You know, what is these things that are going to happen to me? And the truth of it all is, if you trust the medicine, if you believe in what you're doing, then everything will be okay. And the fear that does come, it will come. You know, you'll probably find yourself at one point, especially in the beginning. Let's say you're in Peru, you're laying on your mat in a maloca in the middle of the jungle, and you're starting to feel a little funny. You know, you're going to say, what have I done? You know, for a second, your mind's going to say, well, what the heck did I do? I came out here, I don't know these people, I don't know what's going on. And that's where that fear arises. But there's no room for that. That fear does not serve us when it comes to ayahuasca, because that's, the fear is your healing. That is, you know, fear to me is the indicator of what needs to be handled next. Whatever you fear the most is most likely the thing that needs to be accomplished next. And you can kind of gauge it that way, right? But fear is not necessary, just because it is all love. It's a beautiful teacher. It's a medicine that's going to teach you. So if you start interacting with that fear in the mind, it can be unpleasant for many reasons. So I think trusting and keeping your expectations to a minimum, because it's just going to be so much regardless. You know, you're never going to be able to predict what's going to happen. But that's also what makes it beautiful.
Thank you so much, because I'm feeling for my trip, I'm like in service to what you were saying about I forget about that thing about like, and this is kind of with the universe and life, is like the more you put in, the more you get out. Like that is just universal law. And it's amazing to reminded about respect. The more that you are taking this seriously and less casually, the more the spirits can work with you.
Yes.
Now, I have a question in my own difficulties where it's surrendering maybe the ego or the mind and getting stuck in my mind during ceremony, as opposed to being able to allow the medicine to do her work with me. In the beginning, my own journey of the medicine has gone thus far, which I'm really grateful for the opportunity that I'm going into the jungle. Because in the very beginning, I think I was really able to channel and open and expand and let go. And then over time, it's almost like I hit a wall or a threshold that I haven't been able to break beyond, that it allows me to be taken to that place that's beyond that wall. And that wall looks for me like just like overthinking and feeling like I'm not able to expand. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It sounds like you're almost trying to achieve a certain state, but that's the opposite of what we're trying to do, right? So let me ask you, do you meditate?
Of course, yes.
Okay, so you are very beautiful, amazing. So you're very aware of when you meditate, there's almost fairly consistently, there is mind that comes into your meditation. It pulls you away for a second. And almost the key of meditation is to recognize that your mind is separate from you. You are your soul. You're the watcher. You are above your mind. Your mind is just a tool, like your heart, like your lung. It has one job in your body, and that's just to think. But our mistake is we identify with our mind, and sometimes we believe we are our mind, so we are our thoughts. So if you're able to pull yourself away from that and see that you are not your thoughts, your mind has thoughts, and the ones that don't serve you, you are allowed to let go, as you do in meditation, right? So almost challenge yourself with that, in a sense, that recognize when you're in ceremony and you find that you hit that wall, what wall are you really hitting? Ask yourself. You can watch, you're creating this wall in that moment, and then now you're trying to get over this wall. But all you need to do is recognize that you've reached that point and say to yourself, this thought does not serve me right now. And let that thought go, just like you would any other thought in meditation. And that should initiate a regeneration of speak to put you back on the track that you were on before you hit the wall.
Right. Right.
Have you tried any meditation type practices in the middle of ceremony?
I have. I've done that, and it does. Okay, so I love what you said about the track that you were on, because it does feel like the medicine can carry you and do for you what you cannot do for yourself. And that is really a beautiful space to be. And you can also get out of that space, that flow, which is this could be ayahuasca ceremony, or this could be life, right? You get out of the flow and you're in that flow state, right?
Yes,
so like there's the synchronicity, and it can carry you from one thing to the other. And that's a really beautiful place to be. And I get very disenchanted and frustrated when I notice that I've knocked myself out of that place, and I seem to be not allowing the spirits, the helpers, all of those things to work with me. And then what happens in my personal journey is then there's judgment and shame and all of that for not being in the flow, which takes you out even further from spirit, and therefore harder to get back into the flow, which again that's like a mental pattern for me in ayahuasca ceremony and life in general. And I guess that would be the threshold to break out of that pattern.
Yes, that's exactly what I would say I specialize in. If I was to specialize in anything, it's that exact issue right there, because all of us have it. It just shows in a different way. And that is the mind that's trying to live your life through your mind, which is ultimately ego. They're one and the same thing. And when you feed anything, any kind of power to the ego, it's going to take it and run, and it can win if you let it win. But that's what I like to teach people how to break away from that and see the difference. You're not your mind. You are not your mind. That's where we get screwed up. Like if you ask somebody, where are you within your body right now? Like we almost feel like I'm somewhere behind my eyes and like between my ears, like I'm somewhere in my head, right? But that's not true. That's our problem. We are our souls. I am this being. I'm not somewhere inside my mind right here. Like I feel like I'm a little guy controlling this whole body of mine. And that's our error as society these days. And that takes over.
Can I ask, just with the point that you made about Michelle, when you were saying that it helps you into that place, if it helps facilitate you coming into that meditative place, or it helps you, it's like a device, right?
Yeah, it's a tool. Exactly.
It's a tool. Yeah, it's a tool. How much of it, like, do you think it's a catalyst? Do you think it's what I mean is it a permanent thing here? Is this is like an ayahuasca retreat, or is I like the way that you speak about this with great reverence as well. By the way, I have to say that I think that's really, really valuable to anybody actually looking at these things. It's not just, we're going to go on a trip, man. Right. It's like it's actually, you are a healer. Everybody that's here is healers. I appreciate that, you know. But I'm saying,
I feel that. I feel that in the group.
Yes, exactly. But the evidence is very important. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Definitely.
But what I'm saying is, that is a catalyst, right? It's a catalyst.
It is.
To get you there. But how long do you hold on to the catalyst? That's what I mean.
See,
do you think these retreats are to bring you into the place where you come into your own autonomy, and then you don't need that anymore? Or do you think this is something that, because this is a very regular thing for you, and it's obviously helping you, it's working for you, and it's moving you forward? And I wouldn't say, you know, if anything's working for you, no matter what the tool is,
right,
keep doing it. You know what I mean? It's like, you know.
Let me give you a little bit of insight on that, because people ask that question a lot, and it's a great question. I, at this point, don't feel like I need ayahuasca anymore. I go and I drink a tiny bit so I can connect in with the other people who are having this great experience. Like you said, and ayahuasca is like, you know, people could say, well, if it's doing such great things for you, then obviously it could be addictive, but it is so much work, and it's so far from a recreational thing that it's impossible to ever be any kind of addiction to it. So let's scratch that right out of the way. But the second thing is like you said, it's a catalyst. Once you get to a certain point, you understand it, so you don't need to keep trying to re-understand it, right? Like you get that major edge that you need, and once you understand it, yes, it can help you. You can use it for other specific things, and like typically somebody will come for 1 week, and that 1 week will change their life. 7 days, they have 4 ceremonies, and they'll change their life. Some people who have a little bit more deeper stuff in their lives, maybe who have had a lot more trauma than the average person, might take 2 weeks. Sometimes we have people there for a month. And if they ever want to come back, it's because they want to see their family again. They want to be part of that thing again, not to
brings in such camaraderie that it needs.
Right.
Is there any adverse reactions that have been had, like with anything that is a catalyst, or with any substance? You know, has there been anything that you've had to deal with?
Like difficulties?
Yes.
No, honestly, I can't believe how much success it,
Fantastic.
you know, it's truly remarkable. Like we've had maybe 1 or 2 people that say, you know, oh, this is a little bit too much for me right now in the very end of it. And that's because they just haven't reached their point. They've done 3 ceremonies. They're tired. They're overwhelmed. And maybe they were so much living in that ego, and they're so pulled away from everything that's overwhelming a tad bit. But everything is always optional.
That's true of any spiritual practice, though. I think that's true of anything that actually has, like, it's massive change. It's like cognitive dissonance. We
just support. We just support through that. You know, like, it's okay. You don't have to keep doing things if you feel. You know, just relax, lay in a hammock, meditate, read a book. You know, the shaman will drink for you, and you can just join the ceremony. And that's how they did it traditionally. The shaman would drink for the person and figure it out for them and help them later on. But this
that's
newer
what
wave,
I was gonna say with the in addendum to Robbie's question was, you know, is it your path? If it's your path and you want to become a medicine worker, practitioner, healer, like those of us who are, then maybe it's something that you continuously go to check in and learn from and dialogue with those spirits, so that you bring in that energy out into the world. I feel like that's been a part of my cultivation right now.
It's part of a purge for me too. You deal with a lot of people, right, for a long time, and you kind of take on people's
OMG, totally. Yes.
So you're absorbing so much crap, and then you go and you just get rid of all of it. So it's like you get back to your fresh, new, quality self that has all the room to help others heal, make room for other people, and then start. You know, you start cleansing other people, and then 3 months later, I can go and release all of that and leave it there.
Totally. Yeah. And there's another thing with that, with the cyclically, that it oh wait, now I lost it. Oh darn, maybe I shouldn't have interrupted, but I was getting so excited about that.
I love it. It's great.
No,
pattern,
because it's so rare that you get to talk about that with it's so rare you get to talk about this. But yeah, it cleans us out. Yeah, I don't know, it'll come back to me, but
sure,
cleans us out. Yeah, you go, whatever.
Yeah.
Well,
We'll get back.
This is the point. That this is one thing, like, I know me and Robbie have talked about this in the past. That in England, there was this point of where healers had this thing. They had to take on all the burdens, and they would get clogged up, and eventually you'd get healers who burn out. And one thing I learned in China, you should never, your healing journey as a healer. When you're healing others, you should be healing yourself.
Yeah.
It should be, if you're connected, you should be healing yourself as well as, you should feel better.
Totally. When it's a circuit from spirit through spirit, that you are a spirit to the spirit that is the person that's being healed. If it's a circuit, it's a continuum. It's a continuum, and it has to be a continuum for it to be a benefit. Or it's magnetic healing.
But I think some of our systems, and at least where I'm at in my shamanic practices, I haven't, number one, been trained officially, which I would love so much, to be trained in order to do that. I feel like seeing the resilience of Boggie, and seeing Robbie, their constitution, certain people's constitutions have more fire in them, and therefore are able to do the circuit and connect. And maybe my constitution is more water, energetically sensitive, and I could learn that, and I do hope to be that resilient one day, but I'm not surprised if that doesn't happen to me in this lifetime because of the way that my energy field works.
It's your own path.
Works.
Yeah.
I have this very permeable essence, which is also feminine in a way. And that's great, but it also makes me very sensitive. And what I was going to share is that not only as we drink the medicine and as we become more efficient healers in our lives, we become more tuned to the subtle. And by being more tuned to the subtle, the world itself becomes harsher environment. So going on to retreats, and that's why people like all of us want to lead retreats and be a part of this world and be a part of retreat centers more often, so we can disconnect from the environment that clogs us up and be more in the environment that floods us and create the world, that new earth world that we know is possible, because it feels so good.
So you're living for the people that are in the retreat, it's a temporary paradise or utopia, but
I love it. That's my job. I get to go live there.
Because you're running it and because it's your reality, you're living in that utopia all the time. Yeah, brilliant. I think that's why I'm being called to retreats, though. Yeah, because this is my first one, Ryan. This is, there's a certain amount of trepidation, but I think you're very inspirational. That you just took the bull by the horns. This was only just something I was just talking about doing it, and then somebody's invited me. You know what I mean? Like somebody said, "You want to do this retreat for me?" So I whoa, wait a minute. And part of me is going, whoa. But now, you're very inspirational because you did it. You just went and did it because that's your soul path. Yeah.
Thank you,
Ryan. I've got to say that it's not often that I get. Well, I do get inspired, but it's not often that I really, these sort of retreats, this sort of thing that I really want to go. And I've got to say, we've got to, we'll keep in contact because I'd love.
Of course, yeah.
The idea of being there, especially when you're there, it really does intrigue me. And actually, it does sort of lead on to a question. We've had two questions from Buffy. I think one of them's been answered, so I'll sort of flip around the other way. So Buffy's, and I think you sort of answered this, but I'll just say it again. So Buffy asks, how does the process go from start to finish for a person going through the ayahuasca the ayahuasca retreat experience?
Yeah. So let's see.
Start to finish.
So okay. So a quick rundown of the itinerary would be is basically you get to the airport and we have it arranged in a way that you don't have to really worry about anything. You get yourself to the airport. We have our manager there who have your little sign with your name on it. You come out. We pick you right up. We get you in a cart. We drive through the city in a little motor cart. Through this, it's a beautiful little ride. We get you to a hotel. that's in a beautiful location right by the Amazon River. It has several restaurants that follow the ayahuasca diet even. So we have everything. It's within a half block to a block and a half. Everything is right there. It's safe. You have a locked door. So the second you go into that hotel room, nobody from the street can ever get in. And they have like lounges and everything. So it's a beautiful, safe place. And so that we have you come in a day early. We all hang out. We go out to dinner maybe. Get to know the city. We do some sightseeing. And Iquitos is the biggest city in the world that you cannot get to by road at all. You can only get there by plane or boat. So it's pretty remote, but it's still a big, beautiful old city. So we spent a little bit of time there. The next morning we get up pretty early. We have breakfast and get everybody onto a giant locals boat. And what we do is we bring down the hammocks. So we set up all these hammocks. So everybody has their own hammock and you get to lounge for this 3-hour ride down the Amazon River to the jungle to get to the center.
Oh, awesome.
It's beautiful. And we know the captain of the boat so well that he lets us creep up to the top and we get to stand on the boat on the very roof because it's like a 3-story boat. So you can stand on the roof and just enjoy this beautiful trip. It's remarkable. And you do it with the locals. There's chickens, there's, people. It's a beautiful experience. There's children on the boat. There's teachers going into the jungle to help the students. I mean, it's everything, right? And we are literally on the Amazon River. So this boat pulls up to our port and we all just creep off the front of the boat. Our guys come down, pick up all your bags, get them up to the room. We get you settled in, give you a quick little tour, and then give you time to shower, rest for a little bit. And immediately excursions start. We do group shares. We all meet up. We start talking. We let you know about ayahuasca. We have a couple different group shares. We all introduce each other, the staff. You meet the shaman. You get blessed. The first time you walk up, the shaman will greet you basically in the front, the group, and she blows mapacho smoke, which is a jungle tobacco that shamans use for protection. And she basically smudges you to get the city and all the stuff off of you.
So you work with a female shaman. That's rare.
I believe that it's very mandatory. I wanted a female shaman. As we grow, we'll add a second shaman, and that will be male. But I thought, and the only way I could see it is having a female for multitude of reasons. And I think it's very important. I think, especially for women, it's beautiful. It makes women feel safe, and they know they can come. And not because there's a lot of rumors about, male shaman, ayahuasca, and sexual abuse. That's the truth. There's some stuff out there. And that's the furthest thing from anything we're trying to do. Yeah. And, I
love that because I think the guru abuse has been such a big thing that people are wary of their own spirituality even. And connecting with people because they think,
can't taint the most beautiful thing you're supposed to be doing in the world. So, you want that mother ayahuasca. This is a feminine energy we're working with here. What not better than have a 5-generation shaman at 46 years old singing her beautiful Icaros songs through the feminine energy, with the feminine energy. It's just, it's remarkable for hours straight. Oh, it's beautiful.
That's awesome.
And I'm not going to give away too many of the secrets because I want people to be excited when they get there, but
definitely.
There's always something to do. You're never bored.
Sounds amazing though. It sounds really, really good. Yeah, I want my retreats to be as exciting sounding as yours. And I'm not even done one yet, Ryan.
Oh man, it's amazing.
Robbie, I want to be part of his retreat. I want to be the Qigong practitioner.
Well, what we could do is we could all, set up groups too. If there's people that see this and are interested in it, you could set up your own group and have them come out, and we could even feature you guys for that week in what you do, and have your people come out and have a beautiful experience as a big group, and offer that as part of your healing as well. I think
that's the new way that everybody is really moving forward in the spiritual communities, you know what I mean? Because there used to be an awful lot of, this is my community, that's your community, and don't go with them because, you know what I mean? It's like the whole in Scotland it's Catholic Protestant, and it's like, it's two branches of the same religion, It doesn't make any sense to me. It's always, what are you talking about?
Just unite. Everybody
unite.
Exactly.
No matter what the thing is, if you can feel if something is authentic. You can feel if somebody is coming from their heart space, and it doesn't matter what the tool is. These are all just tools for us to recognize our oneness. You know what I mean? They're only just, everything is just there just to bring us together. And no matter the language or the tool or the catalyst, this is the new way to do it. It's not about abuse. It's not about control. It's not about, you need to listen to my way, and my way is the only way, and you will worship me, and here's my bed there, and I'm the guru. That has been part of, unfortunately, that's why people have behaved, But
unfortunately.
The new energy, it's not about masculine, it's not about feminine, it's about people. It's about heart space.
We're going to grow and learn.
Exactly. It's about growing and learning about your own self. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Treat elbow. I think what you're doing is brilliant. I can feel that it's brilliant. Wow. I can feel that you're authentic yourself.
Thank you.
This is something that I would. This is the first time that I've met you tonight.
Sure. Right.
But I would have no hesitation recommending your energy for people. This is what I do for a living. Do you know what I mean? I recommend things to people.
I highly appreciate that. That means the world to me. And right back to you. It's something in this light community. We can feel like all of us here have. This is the first time I'm meeting all of you, but I sense this community, this spiritual family. And it's a beautiful thing. And that's because each and every one of us is coming from that legitimate heart space. We want to help people, and there's no way that we cannot come together and all, we could all just learn so much from each other, just being together. And that's a beautiful thing. And if anybody can listen to us and learn for themselves, then we're doing great things.
Exactly. And we benefit by being in that place that it's self-perpetuating.
We need it. We need it just as bad as everybody else.
Exactly. And it's coming from that place of vulnerability of not saying, I'm the reincarnation of Jesus or Buddha. Right. I mean, all of these things that people believe that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And good luck to them. Everybody's on a journey,
if it works
you know what I
them,
mean? But it's not about being. I think being in that place of vulnerability yourself and just going, I'm just a human as well. Do you know what I mean? I've got my own things to overcome as well as anybody else. Do you know what I mean? And what you've been fortunate enough to feel and experience and transcend, you help and pay it forward to other people.
That's why I named it a spiritual hand. Perfect. That's my life, man. All I wanted to do was help somebody.
The last 2 days I've been getting pay it forward in my head, right? So it's maybe about this as well, because sometimes I get that way before I'd see clients. I'll find out why I'm getting something, right? And what I was getting was pay it forward in two ways. I think this is what you're talking about. What you've experienced, you're paying it forward because of the good, right?
Yeah,
but the next way of paying it forward is when you've got negative happening to you, pay forward where you would intervene in a positive way. That's the next way of paying everything forward, which is what you're doing. You do for yourself first.
Right.
And then you do for everybody else. And in doing for everybody else, it all comes back to you,
Yeah.
So that's perfect for the hand,
Yeah, just everybody's everything helps each other, and anybody who touches it benefits. And how it started for me was just I found myself in a dark place, and I wish that somebody was there to be able to give me a hand when I needed it. And that dark place was so scary, man. It was horrible. And now I'm in the position where I've learned it, and I can be that guy that I needed. I want to be that guy for somebody else.
That's why I've been getting that the last 2 days. So you're paying it forward what you needed. That's what you needed at the time.
Yes.
You're paying that forward.
Yes, so, I want to be that for somebody else.
Exactly.
Because that's a scary place, and I want to help anybody who's in that spot right now. Anybody. And that's why I'm here. I'm here 24/7. People can Facebook message me anything. I'm here to talk to you, even if you think it's crazy, it's silly. It doesn't matter. Message me. I'm here to help you. That's what this is about. We want to help people come out of these dark places.
Yeah, totally.
I think that I get so
Have to go, guys.
I think I. Okay. Beautiful. Much love. That was so inspirational. Yeah, that is so inspirational because I feel like we forget a lot of the time. I forget a lot of the time the messages that the universe has taught me, that ayahuasca has taught me about. We're in service to love on a higher, greater scale. Yes. And what you're talking about is like the work that we do. You can think about it in these two ways of like, it's self-perpetuating, or like it's like this beautiful web that the more that we commit ourselves to it, the more that we step into these roles as leaders, teachers, healers, we're creating this net for the ones who are leaving the worlds of the mind, that consciousness that exists now in our planet. They need someone to go, like, because you were in a dark place because you were feeling like you didn't fit in this matrix world, right? Like you were like, there's something else. And everybody feels that way because something's wrong, right? And so they need the nurturing, like we found with the medicine, but also like that we can, like souls who embody those teachings, basically.
Right.
Then that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah,
that's beautiful.
That we need to be those souls.
We do. I mean, that's why we learned. That's why we felt the pain. That's why we've reached this point in our life. Most likely due to pain in one way or another, right? And that's the lesson. And then if we can help someone learn that lesson without them feeling so much pain before it happens, and even just through not any kind of forcefulness, just through open discussion, and just seeing the matrix for what it is, and stepping back from all of that, and it opens up this free new world. Something beautiful happens, and you get a bug. If you get that little bug, then you're off to the races, and you'll find that you'll get that happiness from within, and you'll know how and why. You see the picture, you get a couple puzzle pieces, and all of a sudden you start seeing what this picture really is. When you can see the picture, you're able to help other people see the picture.
Yeah, that's so true, because spiritual healing is a shift in perspective. And so we're either looking like something is broken, and we're feeling like something is broken, or we're seeing how divinely perfect that brokenness was, is, and served this higher truth. Go ahead, Boggie. What were you going to say? Yeah.
And it's this thing of in the past we've had revolutions to open up new frontiers, new ways of thinking. And the problem with revolutions are always, there's always very much that opposing opposite, the us and them. And this time round, the whole thing of what 2012 was all about, as far as I was always taught, it's the beginning of the doorway going into. This time it's not revolution, it's evolution. And everybody evolves. Everybody's waking up. But the whole point of it is we're waking up everybody. Everyone becomes Sifus. Everyone helps everyone else, rather than the old the old paradigm of leaders. Big people.
The one important person. To learn from.
Follow me. Yes. And it's now about waking up and helping everybody else, and that that's why I'm going. I'll promote. I'll happily. If anybody wants to do ayahuasca, go and see Ryan. Go see Sifu.
Yeah,
Ryan. Because I feel that energy with you. I feel that because what you've talked about is something I resonate with, and the whole point is that you recognize that feminine energy. You've recognized it in that self, and you're like say. A Daoist, you don't call yourself a Daoist, but you're a Daoist.
I love it. Yeah, man, totally.
And is that, and talking about the way the way you welcome people in. It's not about business. It's about family. It's about helping people, guiding people, the spiritual hand, guiding them, helping them up.
And if you do that exactly.
And if you do that right, it will be abundant. It will, it will look after itself, and it will be fine, and everything will work out. And which it sounds like it is. And that's what we need to, in the past we talked about the problems. There's this and there's that problem in this situation. the only way you solve problems is by working on a solution. Don't live in the problem, live in the solution.
Yes.
And this is what I see. And that great thing of, you said yourself, and this is, you know, like for me is, you know, there's been times where, like for me, my qigong, there's certain things that they can activate different they can activate the DMT, and they can activate things within what I have with my qigong. But there will be people who need to kick it off. They need that spiritual hand of ayahuasca. And the point is that, like you said yourself, you know, you don't take as much now because you know, that journey's already started. You know that flow. So you don't need it's not a crutch, it's a guide now. It's become a guide for you. And some people try to make it out as a crutch, a walking stick.
Yeah,
but
no. It's not a magic bullet. This is not a magic bullet. No. It takes work. It takes dedication and love and compassion. I mean, we're not in the business of snapping the fingers and just healing people. No, this comes from a real deal, true inward love for yourself and what you're about, and how you recognize that for your own life and then apply it in reality, getting proper results for yourself, you know?
Yeah. And that's what I mean. That's what that passion in your voice and the way you're saying that, and the way you express. You know, you're not desperately, but you know, it's like
it's fire for me, man.
Best you possibly can.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting that energy out. You know that. You know, I really mean this. This is, you know, it's from your heart, and that's what I love.
Good. I'm glad it comes out that way. Thank you so much. I'm glad it comes out that way because. It's just so important to me. It's so important to me. And, you know, if I can help one person, then I am so happy, you know, I'm so happy. And I watch it. I not only do I get to be part of that, on a weekly basis, I watch people's lives change directly in front of me. Like when I leave the center with these people, I'm crying with them because it's so remarkable to watch someone come with this anger or this sadness that's just so present in them. You can see it, you can feel it, and when they leave, their shoulders are low and they have this open love, and they're looking at you like, God, like, how does this happen? And do you know what that does to your heart as a healer? It's like, God, thank you, you know. I cry with them. I can't help it. It's just too beautiful. I'm never going to deny it, and I get to live that every day. I'm so blessed, and I'm so glad that I stay present and I follow my heart, because if you do that, things will work out for you. And I want everybody to follow their heart, always. Even if it doesn't make any sense to you, follow your gut, man. That's real. That's what's real. If you have anything in this life, you have that deeper inner knowing, and follow that no matter what.
Yeah, and your true Wujian, a shaman, you know, true shaman is that you experience it with them. You're going through it with them. You're not separate. You know, in the West, we tend to have doctors that will give you something, give you a prescription, move on. You're feeling it with them, and that's what I really, really admire about you. And it's you know, a good shaman, a good healer, a good Sifu.
Thank you.
You are. A good Sifu is a guide, is a muse. It doesn't tell you what to do, it guides you on the way, but you're feeling it as well. You're going through that journey with them.
Yes.
Because it affects, you know, everything's interconnected. So therefore, into your life, it's something to observe in yourself, their life, and then by clearing yourself, you help clear them as well, and they clear it and clear each other.
Beautiful.
So,
it's beautiful. Yeah, I love it. And thank you so much. To hear that, it just warms my heart, you know, like, because I just want to help people, and it feels amazing. And thank you for sharing that with me. Thank you for letting me know that I do come off that way, because that's what I hope for. You know, I just want to be able to help people, and I want people to know that they can trust me when it comes down to needing help. You know, it's important. It's very
well. I can't help it. I can only tell you the truth. It's a fault of mine. I only ever tell the truth.
I like you.
But,
I like you, man. I really like you.
I like you too, brother. Right, Chris, have you got any questions? And/or I think 'cause I'm not going to risk my dyslexia. So, have you got any questions from the audience, or have you got a question yourself?
I have some feedback from the audience. Buffy says, all of you have been a spiritual hand in my journey, and I appreciate you all very much. Love, heart. Namaste.
Love, heart.
Buffy, we love you to death, girl. Always. Buffy.
Yeah,
Buffy's
love, chin, Buffy. We love you, Buffy.
Love you, Buffy. Always.
Buffy is a remarkable being.
She truly
gotten
is.
the opportunity to work with her. Yeah, you know her too? Okay, awesome.
I know her very well. Yes. We work together
that's
pretty
wonderful.
often. Yeah, she's a
Really?
very amazing person.
It is like a spiritual family, like you said that.
It is. It really is. You know, it's just the way it should be. We should all love each other and help each other out and give each other a hand if something's just not right, if you're not feeling good.
I have to tell you, tell me, it's funny, we're speaking. What is your name? Tell me your name.
Ryan Frechette.
Ryan. You mentioned going down to the retreats and getting people to come to the retreats. And
yes.
I got an okay, like that would be something to do for myself. So I got a spiritual from that.
Beautiful. Send me an email, Ryan at a spiritual hand. Yeah.
I will. I will be in contact about that because that's something that I feel that I could carry.
That would be great. I have a lot of good ideas that I would like to share with you too. If you have any interest in that, any one of you, and
of course,
it comes with all kinds of cool things. So I'd love to share what I typically would do in these situations, and it's beautiful. So please email me sooner than later. We can,
Sure, and I think I'll be going to Bolivia in the next couple of weeks, so I'll actually be very close to that environment. So that's even a step on my path. Yeah, and then today, just as we're talking about spirituality, like I was a yoga teacher several years ago, and now I just filled out the paperwork again. I moved to Colorado to actually start a business for myself to do that. So I'm like, business retreat. This is interesting. So
that's great because we need
really love that.
Yoga at the center. So if you can bring down some yoga for a week, then hey, it would be a great little combination.
I definitely can. And singing, I do singing. That's what was coming through. It was like sound healing and doing that.
Excellent.
And then the retreat space. I know.
Beautiful.
So,
I love it. Yeah, me too. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. That's great.
Oh, my honor. Super
Yes.
So, Chris, you got anything else?
I do. Okay, this is a multi-part question, so just bear with me. It does go somewhere.
Okay.
Here we go.
Why Peru? Why not just grow the plants nearer to where you live? Is it to do with location?
There's many things. That's a great question.
Yeah,
great question. So Peru is the original place that ayahuasca came from. The very first tribe of people were Shipibo, kind of like an Indian, a Peruvian Indian, so to speak, and that came from the jungle. That's where it originally grows, is the jungle. That's where the conditions are naturally, it comes from. Also, it is illegal in the United States. So that is a big problem. They have legal churches, and I'll tell you right now, anywhere in the United States, there is not a legal retreat. Everybody, I don't care what you see, what you read, so-and-so, this, that, no. Nobody officially has DEA exemption, and that's exactly what you need. Nobody has achieved that yet. There are a couple centers in the works, but they're not getting the responses. So if you read stuff anywhere, ignore it because there's no legal retreats in the United States. So, but the biggest thing to me is you want a real traditional shaman. You want the jungle, Mother Earth, the lungs of the universe. This is a space where growth, tremendous growth happens. And you're also living amongst villagers who have just weathered the storm in a simple way of life, but are so happy and fulfilled, and you get to witness this and be a part of it, and then compare it to what you know to be life. and recognize how lucky you truly are and how beneficial your life is around you. And you could complain every day, I have the worst life ever. People always say it. Go to Peru for a week and look how these people live. And then you tell me that you have the worst life. You have walls on your house, don't you? You know what I'm saying? Like, you have a toilet, don't you? Then you're doing all right, you know? And there's just so many teachings within the jungle, and the plants themselves, natural. So basically we live off the land for the most part. We get a little cut, we go to a tree. You know, we constantly taking from the land. And you couldn't do that in, you know, I'm in Las Vegas. We could go out and have a beautiful desert scene setting for a ceremony, and that would be beautiful, great. But the elements of life and the jungle, the, you know, all of that is a lesson, is a teaching. And you combine those and it becomes the most powerful learning experience of your life.
So ayahuasca then is almost not inconsequential, but sort of almost like the least important part of the experience, because everything forms part of a whole, if you like.
Yeah, I would say that. And that's how you, if you at least see it in that light, that's how you'll get the best results too. Because, you know, you want to stray away from the magic bullet, the silver bullet mentality, the instant gratification, you know, like you learn, you go through something and you learn it, you know. And the ayahuasca is just one piece of these many tools that all come together to form this beautiful lesson. It is important. It is a crucial part of it. But truthfully, I truly believe you could come to this experience and remove the ayahuasca, and you will still go home and say that you had one of the best experiences of your life, and you've learned the most in your experience, and change your life the most, even if you remove the ayahuasca. So,
as you said, the shaman themselves can take it for you.
Yes.
And you know, it's because you know, that's very much like the cloud watchers of Taoism and the Ho'oponopono Ono. The whole philosophy of everything is interconnected. So therefore, when you're with them, they, you know, and that's the true shaman. A shaman can actually reflect off your energy, and therefore, you know, can work on themselves. And by working on themselves, they actually work on you, because all is one. You know, all is interconnected.
Well said. You said that very well. Very well said.
Oh, I know nothing. I cough and bustle on that. But you know, it's and that's the beauty, you know, and that's the point, you know, is, you know, for me is, I mean, like, you know, I've had no deals with you. I don't know. I've, you know, apart from a few messages, I don't know you, but
you mostly were talking to my assistant, even, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And you know, but I can feel, you know, you know, you're the real deal.
I appreciate that, and so are you, my friend. So are you. I feel it. You know, that's I feel it from all you guys, man. It's
shucks, you know.
It's coming from that real spot, that you know, what you believe, you do what you believe in, you love what you do, and that shows on the outside. You exuberate those things, you know, all you guys do, and it's beautiful. I appreciate you having me on and joining you in this.
Yeah, even Chris, you know, he exuberates it from silence. You know,
Chris is the man. Chris is the man.
He is the man. When you said about us all being healers, I actually sent a private message saying, "Yes, Chris, he means you too."
Yes.
Nice. One of my silent ninja students, Chris. But yeah, it's you're coming from the heart. And this is the point, when you're truly coming from your heart, when when you understand, you know, yes, you know, the assertion, you know, the masculine side is needed, but the feminine side is needed. And when you blend them together and you can be truly open, and you know, like I said, there's certain little things. I always say the tick moments. There's certain little things where you've ticked the box, and you know, saying about, you know, that, you know, things aren't really good or bad, they just are, and you know, but also at the same time, it's that bringing all these combinations together. You know, your retreat is not commercialized. You know, it's not a standard commercialized. It's not this. You know, it's not about putting them on a conveyor belt and
right. It's very mom and pop personal style. Yeah. Right. Yes.
But that's how it should be. You know,
I think so too. That's the true experience. Like, go live in the jungle with these, well-defined generation after generation shaman and be part of it. Be real, not just some place where they're shipping you in and out.
This is what I really like. Though. I really like this concept of being ripped out of the everyday. I mean, that's what we do when we go on a holiday, effectively. I mean, this is what we're doing. We're breaking with.
You're getting rid of all mental map. You're removing yourself from your mental map, which forces you into presence, which is a great feeling. Think about any trip you've ever taken. It always feels great. It feels amazing because you're forced into presence. You are fully present. You don't know anything to be able to think about it because everything's new. So you take on life in this, and that's how you should live your life ultimately, through presence, in a way where everything just feels new. Every new moment comes, and there's not already a preconceived notion ready to apply into a thought.
Exactly.
You said it, brother.
This gives you the appreciation of what to look in from an external perspective at your own life. Yes. And to appreciate and give appreciation for what you do have, as opposed to being in that moment where you don't see, because you're so close to everything that you do have in your life, that you can't appreciate it.
Very well said, Chris. Yes, exactly. You're so close. You're so close to it. You're blinded in a sense.
100%. That's why he's the question. Indeed, very much so.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Well, we're sort of coming up to time near, so we'll sort of start wrapping things up. But so yeah.
I was just saying.
We've had an awesome time.
I had a great time.
Oh man,
I appreciate it.
I had a great time too. It was nice meeting you, Ryan.
You too, Robbie. You too.
As much as I was able to be here for.
Yeah.
Well, before we all say goodbyes. Right, so we'll start with Robbie. Robbie, have you got any final word? Any last thoughts? Any final words? Any question? Anything as we wrap up? We're not going yet.
I'm really inspired. I think it's really relevant for me just now. Just moving forward towards doing retreats, and just the way that you took the bull by the horns. I think it's been really inspirational. So I'm looking forward to what you've said in my absence as well. So I watched the whole show from the beginning, and the parts that I was able to connect with you tonight as well. I appreciate it. Nice to meet you. Yeah, you have a genuine heart. So, and that's exactly what is needed. And it's healing, and I think it's very relevant. It's something that I look for. I mean, I have my own way of doing what I do myself as well, and I've experienced what you're talking about to different levels, but from a recreational point of view, like years ago, before moving forward on my path, path I'm on just now. But I think, coming at it from a healing perspective, purely, I think is a divine gift, and I think it's your reverence that I am, bowing in deference to, because I think that's wonderful, and I appreciate it, and I am, it's an honor to share the space with you. So it's good.
Thank you, Robbie. I appreciate it, and likewise with you. I feel everybody's energy here is just amazing. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. Yeah.
God, he always sounds like a school teacher, doesn't he? Chris, you're up next. Oh, yes, okay.
That's the shin side coming out of me. Yeah. Hey, Chris! Hey! That actually sounded just a little bit.
That's what I said. Japanese and Scottish just sounds exactly the same. If you didn't know the language. Yeah.
Anyway, Chris!
It's been lovely to listen to you tonight and to hear your experiences and your passion for what you do. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you. Thank you very much. You're a great questioner, too, by the way.
Thank you.
He is an awesome questioner. He hates it when I say it. But, indeed. Right. So, what I'd like to say, thank you to Buffy. She's had some great questions.
Yeah.
Also, Savoy, he was listening as well. He says you've got amazing eyes. There's energy coming off your eyes.
Oh wow,
Ryan.
Thank you. That's amazing. I appreciate that.
A true soul. Yes, he is. He's just bounced back. So yes, he is. So he's still there. And so Sifu. So Ryan, have you got anything else you would like to say? Just before we wrap up.
No, not other than just a couple little plugs, if that's okay.
Plug away, dear sir.
Okay.
Plug away.
All right, awesome. Yeah, you guys can check me out. Anybody can check me out at aspiritualhand.com or any social media. You can check me out, either Ryan Frechette or A Spiritual Hand. And that goes out to everybody. It specifically goes out to anybody who is struggling in life right now with anything at all. If you just need a soundboard, if you're just even unsure of your direction, it can be as simple as that. I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to help you and interact. So don't be stuck in the darkness alone. Reach out to me. Reach out to one of these great guys here. We're all here for you. We're all here for you, and nobody needs to suffer by themselves.
Yeah,
Definitely.
all his links will be are on the Facebook on the way of conscious mindfulness. All his links are on there. They'll also, if you're listening on podcast, you will also see his links on the podcast as well, and they're on the YouTube as well, so you can easily find. I've made sure you can easily find Ryan.
And Ryan, when are your retreats? How regular are your retreats?
Every week. Every single week. We do private ceremonies. We'll even take one person. You can come down by yourself. You'll have exclusive time with the shaman for a whole week. Wow. Any day of the week, holidays, everything. We're here for people whenever they need it, the second they need it.
Sounds good. Perfect.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. So, well, I'd like to say thank you very much to Ryan. Sifu, it's been a great show. You've inspired me. You really have inspired me. I definitely am seriously looking to come to your retreat, especially when you're there, to be honest.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. I'd love to get a good group together. Oh, yeah. I can introduce you to all kinds of cool stuff. Have you ever even caught your own piranha and then cooked it up for dinner? Because that's what we'll be doing.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I haven't done that. I haven't done that before.
Delicious.
That's one of the few things I haven't done that before.
We're going to do it, my friend. We're going to do it.
Well, I'm a chef as well, so, that'd be pretty cool.
We love it. You're definitely coming then.
oh, man. I'm already there.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Right. So, but I mean, yeah, I love these shows. I love what we created, because the whole point of them is for us to learn. Like I say in the beginning, it's all about learning, and I love it when I learn something new. And I love
it's a great program.
The experience, just listen. Like I say, it really is great to hear somebody with great passion and enthusiasm. A bit like me, and
back at you too.
Yeah, it just oozes out you, man. It's just awesome.
Thank you.
So anybody out there who listens to the show, if you ever thinking of doing ayahuasca, I will say straight away, just by my my Jedi senses, I would say this guy is definitely the person to go to. So passionate. There's so much love there. I can't promote him enough. I think he's awesome.
Thank you so much.
So just for everybody else, for next week, just looking up, we have Marilyn Devonish, who is doing neuro success to balance the mind, body and spirit. Also Huna and remote healing, and also tapping into your genius potential. So that is the show for next week. We're creating a Patreon, or we're going to formulate a Patreon page. So if you're interested in funding the show just for a little bit each week, and we'll have a few extra things on there. There's a couple of secret shows that we've done in the past, and we may even do a few Patreon exclusive shows in the future and get some guests, you know, like Ryan I'm pointing over here, like Ryan to come on the show. If you're interested in that, leave a line, or we will be setting that up shortly. So this will also be to help boost the show and help to create better content and to keep the show going, and hopefully also bring on more interesting guests in the future. So Ryan, thank you so much. I really truly enjoyed this show. It was a great pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Obviously we'll close down, but you know, you can stay around for a little bit longer. But to everybody else in YouTube world and podcast world, I hope you enjoyed the show. This part 2 for the podcasters, this was about, you know, the ayahuasca experience, you know, what it really entails, you know, what happens if you go to, and I really strongly suggest if you're going to do it, go and do Ryan's adventure. You know, what do you get there? What happens? You know, that's what this show was all about. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'm taking a breath. I'm calming down.
And breathe.
And breathe, indeed. So, take care, guys. Until next time, until next week. Love, Chi and Shen from Sifuboggie, from Chris, from Ryan, from the mighty Robbie. Take care. Bye for now. See you later.